begin the practice today in child's pose. So from a kneeling position, keep the feet and knees together with the option of the knees wider apart, if that feels more comfortable for the body. Then bringing the head all the way down to rest on the mat in front of you, using the option of a block underneath your head if the head doesn't want to reach the mat. Arms down the length of your body with the palms facing upwards. Connect with the breath as every inhale is an opportunity to take more air into the body. Active on the exhale to pull the navel inwards towards your spine. Create firmness in lower belly and your pelvic floor. Inhale, there is a broadening of the rib cage and expansion of your chest in 4 directions. On the exhale, the navel moving inwards towards your spine is taking the belly away from your thighs. Good, so bring the hands in position to lift yourself up to a tabletop pose. Inhale, rise up to hands and knees. Ensure that the palms flat and stacked underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Exhale, slowly rock back to child's pose again. Again, with the inhale, rocking forward to tabletop. Now let's start to arch your back, lifting the chin as you lift the tailbone. Exhale, with the breath, move the body back to child's pose. Beautiful. Inhale, rocking forwards and opening the chest. Exhale, rocking back. Try to moderate the movement, and with the breath, inhale, come back up again, opening the body. Exhale, slowly rock back. Good. As you breathe, so we move. Let's do this one more time. Inhale, take your deepest, longest breath and arch your body. On the exhale, let's come back to a neutral spine position, spine straight. So now with the left leg, extend back behind you. Inhale. Beautiful. Bring that left knee forwards to the chest in a tuck. Finding the front of the hip engagement. Today we want to send the shin outwards to the side as if you are a dog peeing. Good. And then bringing it back under the body again. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, lengthen that left leg back. Beautiful. Let's do this one more time. Exhale, left knee to chest to find the front of the hip engagement. Inhale, swing that shin outwards to find the outer hip engagement. Again, bring it back to a tuck position underneath the body. And the next inhale lengthens it back. Good. So one last round. Exhale with that left knee to the chest, connecting with your breath. Inhale, we send the shin outwards to the side. Here you have the option to lengthen your leg. If you want to, left leg straight. Now can we hold this final one? So let's continue to breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing it back to a tuck position underneath your body. Exhale. Lengthening the left foot back. Inhale. Bringing left knee down to the mat for tabletop on the exhale. Beautiful. Now the right leg. Lift and lengthen. Inhale. Now bring the right knee forwards to find your tuck. Exhale. Good. Send the shin outwards like a dog peeing. Inhale. And back to a tuck position. Exhale. Connect with your breath. Inhale, lengthen it back. And one more time. Right knee to chest. Exhale, developing that front of the hip engagement. Then sending the shin outwards to really awaken the muscles in the outer hip. Now back to the chest. Exhale, tuck. And then inhale, you lengthen it backwards. Good. One last time. Exhale, find your tuck. Good. Inhale, opening up. These muscles are very beneficial for today's practice. Take your option to lengthen the leg and stay with the breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, and back to a tuck on the exhale. Now lengthen it back on the inhale. Bringing both knees down, exhale, curl the toes under the feet and start to lift your knees off your mat. Sending the hips as far away from the hands as we can to bring your spine to a beautiful straight line from your fingertips to your tailbone. Good. And that is your downward facing dog or the Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good. Taking a moment here to paddle the feet if that is your practice, with one knee bent, opposite leg straight. Incorporate then the swaying of the hips and maybe the movement of your shoulders. Let's come up on tiptoes on the inhale. Bring the heels down to the mat. Exhale to find your perfect down dog. Take a few breaths here. So if we have lost the breath, let's bring it back. The regulation of the breath with the Ujjayi. Inhale, there is an expansion in the rib cage. Exhale, the navel pulled inwards. Work with Dristi, your gaze directed at the knees or the navel. Stay connected in the foundations of the four corners of the hands and the feet. Good. So with the left leg, lift to a three-legged dog position. Send that left knee forwards to find a tuck position into the chest. Can I invite you to send the shin out to the side again to find that outer hip engagement. Good. And back to the chest. Exhale. Set the foot forwards on the mat. Lower the right knee down and gently to a low lunge pose. Inhale, arms up. Beautiful. Exhale, come down to the mat and step back, downward facing dog. Again, with the right leg, lift to a three-legged dog position. On the exhale, bring that right knee forwards to the chest. Send it out to the side on the inhale. Good. And back to the chest again. Exhale. Now bring the foot forwards on the mat in front of you. Back knee down. And rise up for Anjani Asana, low lunge. Good. Exhale. Bring the hands back down. Step the feet back to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg with the next inhale. Again, let's do this one more time. Exhale to tuck. Send the knee forwards to the chest. Like a dog peeing. Inhale. Try not to lift your left buttock as you lift your left shin outwards. Exhale back to the chest in a tuck. So as you set the foot down, can we turn this into a high lunge? Inhale, keep the front knee stacked above the ankle of the feet as you extend arms upwards. Exhale, still in your high lunge. Slowly, slowly lengthen the tailbone downwards and see if you can sit a little bit deeper in the pose. Good. A few breaths to awaken the legs. Good. With your next exhale, bring hands down to the mat. Pull your front thigh back, straighten out your front leg. Take a halfway lift from this position. Exhale, we fold into pyramid pose. Go ahead and ground your back heel down towards the center of the mat if that feels nicer for your body. Stay connected with the breath. Your inhale creates length for your spine. Find that length. Your exhale deepens the stretch. Good. Preparing the body. And that'll do with the hands on the mat in front of you. Again, step your way back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lift up your right leg on the inhale. Beautiful. Send the knee forwards to the chest on the exhale. Open up to the right inhale. Strong outer hip. Exhale again, tuck into the chest. Good. With the right foot on the mat in front of you. High lunge pose. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, sink just a little bit deeper, but maintain the healthy lengthening of the lower back. Against that lengthening of the lower back, can you also try lifting that back knee just a little bit more, the back leg a little bit straighter. And stay healthy on the front knee, keeping the knee stacked above the ankle of the foot. Good. Now bring hands down to the mat, pull the thigh back, straightening out the front leg in a halfway lift. Inhale. And pyramid pose. Exhale, come down. Good. Your inhales to lengthen and the exhales to deepen. Beautiful. One more breath. And when you're ready, hands on the mat, prepare then to send the right leg back. Inhale, three-legged dog. Can I invite you to rock forward to plank position with your next exhale and with the feet on the mat. Let's start our first vinyasa, elbows bent, coming down to chaturanga, which is a low push-up. Feel free to keep the knees on the mat for less intensity. Inhale, opening to an upward facing dog. Good, and back to down dog on the exhale. From down dog, coming up on tiptoes, inhale. Bring the knees to the chest as you look forwards, exhale. Next, inhale to step forwards to the front of the mat in a halfway lift. Exhale, let's do a forward bend, coming down belly towards thigh, chest towards knee, chin towards chin. Take a moment here. So you can have the hands behind the feet and the elbows behind your knees to gently guide yourself into a deeper forward bend. But please stay healthy in the lower back. We avoid too much rounding of your spine. That means if you need to, keep the knees slightly bent to maintain that length in the lower back. And although the lee bridge is pulling you deeper into this pose, also focus on finding the lift of your tailbone and the spread of your sit bones. Good. So let's pick up the pace of our practice from this position. Place the hands down to the mat and take a halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale. Step your left foot, right foot back, plank pose position. And with the elbows bent, come down to chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog or cobra. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up, inhale, three-legged dog. Send the knee forward to the chest for a tuck on the exhale. Stacking the shoulders over the wrists, send the shin outwards to the side, inhale, lift. Good, and bring the knee back, exhale. Now set the foot down in front of you, inhale, high lunge pose. On the exhale, we turn to face the right side of the mat, ground the back heel inwards towards the center, and extend the arms for a warrior two position. Good. On the next inhale, can you manage the bending of the right knee with the straightening of your left leg? That means switching the leg position like a retreating warrior pose, but not all the way down. And then with the next breath, again, switch to straighten out your back leg and bend the front knee into warrior two. Let's try this again. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. See if you can switch without moving or lifting your hips up. Inhale, switch. Good, much better. Exhale, switch. Inhale, reverse your warrior position. Exhale, come down to the mat, both hands. And step back to plank pose. And if you feel comfortable to continue the work of a vinyasa, let's come down. Coordinate with the breath as you lift up. And send the hips back to down dog on the exhale. So vinyasas are optional in our practice. You can just move your body to down dog and take a few breaths there. That makes the practice more accessible. Lift your right leg up on the inhale. Bring the right knee forwards to the chest on the exhale. Swing the shin out to the side on the inhale. And bring it back into the body on the exhale. Set the foot down in front of you. Inhale, rise up. Opening this time to the left. Exhale, arms extending. Virabhadrasana, warrior two. Switch your legs. Inhale. Beautiful. Switching again. Exhale. Working with the breath. Inhale. Trying not to move the hip. Very nice. Exhale. Stay connected with what is happening in your pelvis and hips. One last time. Inhale, switch. Exhale, back to warrior two. Good. Reverse your warrior. Inhale. Bring both hands down. Exhale to step back. Again, you can choose to do a vinyasa or just arrive at downward facing dog. Again, with the left leg, inhale up, the knee coming forwards, exhale, tuck. The shin moves outwards, inhale. This time perhaps you want to bend your elbows, but just an option here. Good, keep the knee supported on the shelf created in the left upper arm. Arms straight and knees to chest, exhale. Beautiful, set the foot down in front of you, rise up to a high lunge pose. And opening to warrior two, exhale. Reverse your warrior this time, inhale. Come down to a side angle pose, exhale, extending the right arm forwards. Good. Stay and breathe, your left elbow against the knee, or the option like what Yuko is doing, to have the hand touching the mat. Keeping the heart open, revolving this pose so that you can gaze directly under your shoulder upwards towards the ceiling. The line created from the right heel to the right fingertips, active. Good. Right hand to the hip, look downwards. Gently now, manage this transition of straightening the left leg for the next inhale. Move that left hand in position. It can be on the ankle, shin, or touch the mat. Good. Finally, the right arm extends, coming to triangle pose. Uddhita Trikonasana. Moving the hips forward as you bring the chest back to keep the chest in line with your hips. Creating a stretch on that left inner leg and the right outer hip. Beautiful. Both hands down. And we step back to plank pose position. Elbows bent for a vinyasa or just a down dog pose. Beautiful. From down dog position, right leg lift on the inhale. Right knee to chest on the exhale, tuck. Send the shin outwards like a dog peeing. Inhale, lift, with the option of bending the elbows like chaturanga, keeping the knee balanced over the right upper arm. Straight arms. Exhale, push, the knee goes back to tuck. Right foot on the mat in front of you. Inhale, strong front leg, lifting to a high lunge. Good. Opening to the left. Exhale, arms extending, warrior two. Reaching forward to lengthen the right side body. Inhale, reverse warrior position. Good. Exhale, side angle pose with the elbow to the knee, or the option of having the hand all the way down. Extend the opposite arm forwards. Breathe, we hold here. Deep breath in to expand the rib cage. Deep breath out, actively pulling navel inwards. Good. And with that, left hand to the hip. Look downwards and inhale to straighten out your leg. If the leg does not want to straighten, move a little bit higher to the ankle or shin. Next, inhale again, extend the top arm, find the full expression. Create a stretch in the inner leg and outer hip. Uddhita Trikonasana. Extended triangle pose. Good. And that'll do. Gently, gently release, bringing both hands down, stepping back your feet from a plank position to go to down dog or continue your vinyasas. And again, from down dog, tiptoes to inhale. Bend your knees to exhale. Hop forward on the inhale but land lightly. Forward bend on the exhale. Knees bend to chair pose, inhale. Good. Back to the mat, exhale, hands down. Halfway lift, inhale. Walk, jump, or float back, exhale. Elbows bent to vinyasa. Or arms straight to move to downward facing dog. Left leg lift on the inhale from a three-legged dog. Send that left knee forwards to the chest. Swing it out to the side on the inhale, perhaps with the elbows bent. Might as well do an arm balance. Bring the body weight forward and slowly see if the back foot can lift today. For an EPK, Ekapada Kodinyasana, number 2. Take your time, no rush. Good, perhaps with the front leg extending as well. That was good, Yuko. That was beautiful. Okay, the arm balance as well is an option to level the practice according to the intensity the body needs. Good. From this position, set the back foot down again. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lift on the inhale. Right knee to the chest. Exhale. Good. Now sending it outwards on the inhale. Option of bending the elbows. And if your elbows are bent, option to bring the body forwards to see if the back foot can float. If the back foot lifts, option to straighten and lengthen the front leg along with the back leg. Finding the expression Eka Pada Kodinyasana, number 2, which is challenging. But that was beautiful. Very nice, Yuko. Inhale to up dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Let's try that left leg again. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring it forward to the chest. Inhale, shin outwards like a dog peeing. Exhale, let's bring it forwards to the mat in front of you. Inhale, high lunge pose. Good. Exhale, warrior 2. Reversing the warrior on the inhale. And again with the right knee bent, left leg straight. This time coming all the way down to a half squatting position. Retreating warrior. Good. Inhale, extend the arms, opening the chest, opening the shoulders. Or just keep the hands to the heart if you need more stability. Good. From this position, let's do a side body stretch with the left hand holding the right ankle. You might have the hips coming down to sit. Right arm will reach up and over to the left. Staying here or lift like Yuko. If you are open enough, then go ahead and clasp the foot or the ankle with the right hand. Breathe, resolving the body upwards. Good. Beautiful. And as you release, bring both hands down to the mat in front of you, both legs straight. Let's lift up to a straddle leg position. Point your toes forward, feet parallel to each other. Take a halfway lift, look up and lengthen. Exhale, slowly guide the crown of the head down as close to the mat as you can. Good. Support with the hands on the mat, hug the elbows inward slightly, or the option here, if you want more leverage, go ahead and hold on to the outside of the feet with the hands. Good. If you use leverage, it is not just with the strength of the arms pulling the body down, but also try to incorporate a beautiful front of the hip engagement. Lengthening the body down towards the mat, and perhaps like Yuko, one day the head able to touch the mat in this position. Okay, Yuko, so let's bring the hands to the front of the mat and step your feet back to downward facing dog, or perhaps you will want to do one more vinyasa. From downward dog, now lift up your right leg. Inhale. Good. Send the knee forwards to the chest. Exhale. Swing the shin out with a strong outer hip engagement. Inhale. Again, bring it to the chest on the exhale with the foot on the mat in front of you, rising up to Arsta Chandrasana, high lunge. Inhale. Opening to Virabhadrasana, warrior 2. Exhale. Reaching forward to reverse your warrior on the deep inhale. Good. Now moving back to that half squatting position, but this time go all the way down to the mat. Exhale. Good. Another retreating warrior. So stay here with the next few breaths with the hands together or expanding across the chest, broadening across the shoulders, reaching one arm upwards and one arm downwards. If it is hard for you to have your left foot flat on the mat in a half squat, do take the option for the comfort of your ankle to place something beneath your heel, a block underneath the heel or a towel. It can make a squatting position more manageable. Good. Both hands. Let's go into that side body stretch now. So with the Right hand to the left ankle. Maybe sitting down to the mat as you reach the left arm up and over to the right with a deep inhale. Good. Staying here, or perhaps you clasp the foot with the hand. Stay open to revolve the body upwards. Few breaths to create a stretching of the inner legs, hamstrings, side body, chest, shoulders. And that'll do. Bring both hands down to the mat. And slowly lift your way up with both legs straight. Both legs straight. Good. Taking a halfway lift. Inhale, the toes point forwards and forward bend. Exhale, back to Prasarita, Padottanasana. For the second one, you have the option here. Guiding the crown of the head down to the mat, maybe with your knees bent to facilitate this. Keeping the palms flat, shoulder width distance, and trying to form a very stable triangle with the two hands and the crown of your head. Elbows hug inwards. Good. And slowly rock the hips forward to see if then you can use your strong arms to push the feet off the mat, bringing one knee to the upper arm, or perhaps both knees into both upper arms. This can be done with the toes resting on the mat, one leg at a time, or bringing both feet up towards the hips. Good. Maybe you want to explore lifting the knees off the upper arms. Do this with a strong breath. And then as you exhale, opening up your knees, keeping the big toes touching to butterfly pose position. Good. And you have the option here to explore both legs straight on the inhale, extending, finding your beautiful straddle position. Work those outer hips to maintain the openness in this pose. Exhale, slowly close the legs, feet together. Good. Next, inhale again, legs wide apart. Take your time. Maintain the length of your spine, maintain the length of your neck. Exhale, touch your big toes together. Next, inhale, knees together to touch. And slowly lower down to the mat. Beautiful. Keep your legs straight, keep the legs, and walk the feet wide apart. Take a few moments here with the head on the mat. Good. So the inversion was totally optional, and those of us that wish would just have their head on the mat like this position, or just moving our way down into our forward bend and maintaining throughout that duration. Okay, so let's bring the hands to the front of the mat and step your way back to down dog or a vinyasa towards to a downward facing dog. From down dog, lifting up your left leg for a three-legged dog. Let's do a beautiful counter stretch. Now you swing the left foot up and over the body towards the right. And carefully lifting the left hand off the mat. Set the foot down behind the body. Take the next inhale to lift the hip high. Open the chest, revolve it upwards towards the ceiling. Reach strongly with the left arm and stable on the right hand. Wild Thing or Kamatkarasana. Few breaths here. Expansion into the outward curve. Good. Flip it back to plank and send that left shin forwards all the way down to the front of the mat. This is your knee to the left, the foot to the right. You are in a pigeon pose position. So please check that your back leg, it should be parallel with the long side of the mat, the knee not pointed to the side, facing downwards instead. Good. And the front foot is as close to the hip as it is comfortable for the stability of this pose. Left and right sit bones should feel equal. Left and right side body, equal. This means body neither leaning to the left nor to the right. Definitely an option here to have a block underneath your left sit bone to then help to facilitate the stability of this pose. Once you have found your pigeon, see if you can reach the right hand back to clasp the foot. Breathe, holding the foot close to the body, and stay with the chest open. Those of us that wish, try bringing the foot to the crook of the elbow. Clasp the hands. This can happen in front of your chest. Or take the option to clasp your hands behind your head, opening up that left shoulder into the full expression of a Najin-yasana, a mermaid pose. Good. Level and squared other hips. The length of both sides of the body. Open chest and open shoulders. That'll do. Release gently without dropping that back leg. And we take a few breaths here, resting in a reclining pigeon. Good. Bring the hands down to the mat. Let's step our way back to down dog or a vinyasa. From downward facing dog, lift up your right leg for a three-legged dog. Inhale. Good. Again, we are going to swing that foot up and over carefully. With control, stay strong on that left palm and lift the right hand up. With your inhale, flip with the hips high, chest open. Try reaching that right arm towards the front of your mat, opening the chest and staying with your strong legs, stable on that left palm. Good. And that'll do. Flip it back from a plank position to send the right shin forwards to your pigeon pose. Take a moment here. Good. The objective of creating a stretch in the right hip, but we are going to incorporate a gentle back bend as well. So stay with the proud chest. Maintain a healthy lengthening of the lower back by drawing the tailbone downwards. Reach back with the left hand if you are able to. And stay holding the foot close to the body, or try bringing the foot to the crook of the elbow, clasping the hands either in front of the chest or behind the head. Najin-yasana again, mermaid pose. Good. A few breaths to achieve the opening across the front of the chest and the shoulders, and stay stable on your hips, level and square. That'll do. Exhale without dropping the back foot. Carefully lower it to the mat and walk your way forwards to a reclining pigeon pose to continue the work of opening, stretching out your hips. That'll do. So with the hands down to the mat. Good. You can slowly bring that back leg forwards so that we come directly to a seated butterfly pose position, Baddha Konasana. And you go ahead and turn to face the camera so that we see this. Good. You work facing the long side of your mat, feet together and knees wide apart. Either you press the soles of the feet together, or even you might just press the knife edge of the soles of the feet, leaving the soles of the feet to face upwards towards the ceiling. Your knees are actively guided downwards towards the mat with your strong outer hip activation. There is a gentle lift in your pelvic floor to maintain stability of the joints in your pelvis. Good. Take a breath in, lengthen upwards. Exhale, guide the body forwards. And Yuko here is taking the option of even lifting her hips off the mat. A very, very challenging option that increases the stretch in your hips. She's trying to balance now on her feet while continuing to lower the knees downwards and stay with the sit bones lifted from the mat. Feel free to take the easier variation, just coming forwards to create a forward bend. Good. Now bring it back up again, and let's slowly open up our legs to Upavista Konasana. Come to that same straddle position we did from standing and now seated. Few things to note here. We want the toes pointing upwards so that as we come forwards in our fold, we are not going into any painful lateral flexion at the knee joint. The knee, which is meant to be bending and straightening the leg in one plane only, can also go side to side in movements that then contributes to an destabilization of that knee joint. So with that intention, we keep the toes pointing upwards. Next, we want to see if we can sit straight in this position. Sitting straight with a lifted chest, that should feel almost like a back bend. You are on your sit bones, you are not on your tailbone. Those of us that are not able to sit straight, then we are not going to gain the benefits of gravity pulling ourselves forward in this position to give us a stretch. Then we take the option of stacking blocks either underneath the sit bones or blocks underneath your knees to keep the knees slightly bent. So find the shape of the pose that works for your body. Take a breath in, lengthen upwards. Exhale, reach the hands forward slowly, placing the hands down on the mat. See if then you can rest with the length of your spine without rounding the back. If you are able to achieve a straight spine, then go ahead, lower down like what Yuko is doing to the forearms. And again, check that you are able to find a beautiful pelvic tilt to lengthen the spine. It will feel that your belly is coming down closer to the mat. If that is possible, then perhaps even you can rest your chest on the mat. So moving your way down to a deeper and deeper expression, but always checking that you are maintaining a healthy lengthening of your spine. Again, try to keep the toes pointing upwards as best as you can in this pose. And you are in the full expression of the pose we practiced in last week's basic level class, the Upavista Konasana, the wide-legged seated fold. Good. Now bring ourselves back up again, and from your seated position, Yuko, can you challenge yourself to lift up both feet and catch the big toes with your hands? Let's see if this happens. So leaning back, strong front of the hip engagement, inhale, float your legs up and catch the toes. Okay, one more time. Inhale, lift up, catch your toes. There you go. And we are balancing on our sit bones as best as we can. Please maintain a healthy length of your spine. Breathe. You might even direct your gaze upwards in this position to challenge your balance. Good. Your next transition is to slowly try to roll your way back, rounding the back gently, flexing the spine, touching the toes to the mat behind you. Legs still wide apart. Legs still wide apart. Good. A variation of the plow pose or the halasana. Stay with the grounding of your shoulders, that you are not bringing in unnecessary strain on the neck or the back of the head. Maintain as well the healthy lengthening of the spine. Avoid too much rounding of your back. Good. Enjoy this beautiful inversion with your deep, long Ujjayi breaths. And that'll do. Can you rock back to find the earlier position, balanced on your sit bones? Hiya. There you go. Okay. And as we release from here, you can cross your legs and bring the hands to the mat in front of you, rising up to a tabletop pose. Good. And with the next pose, it is the pose we practiced in the essential level class. It is Mandukasana, or the frog pose. So here you might keep your knees on the mat, and that is more comfortable for your knees. Or you might move outside of the mat so that you can work on sliding the knees away from the body. So a towel can facilitate this. Slowly, slowly sliding the knees wide apart. As you come down deeper into this pose, your inner legs engage in an eccentric contraction. That means you are using a gentle release of the inner legs to carefully lower yourself down deep into the stretching of the inner legs. Good. So the knees are in line with the hips in this pose. There is a gentle movement of the hips back to keep this alignment. Your shins parallel with each other to develop a 90-degree bend on your knees. This can be a full reclining position if you want to rest your chest down onto the mat. But take your option of stacking something underneath your legs. Perhaps there could be a cushion between the legs to keep the hips in an elevated position, and that you are not going to tire your inner legs out to maintain. If you can find a very comfortable expression of this pose, then perhaps you can take the option here to lift yourself up to the forearms to make it into a gentle back bend. Incorporating that back bend makes the hip opening a little bit more intense. So definitely the option here is also to place your hands where your elbows were and challenge yourself to come up to a cobra pose expression. Good, but only do so if the body is ready. Yuko's body is definitely ready. Good, one more breath. And exhale, slowly coming down to the mat. Beautiful. Good. When you're ready to move again, slowly, slowly, walking the knees back in, using the hands to support the lift of your hips. Or perhaps you just want to lengthen the legs back into a prone position. Good, lying face down on the mat, taking a moment. And when you're ready, bringing ourselves back to downward facing dog. So from your down dog pose, once again we are going to hop our way forwards and land lightly. But can you hop forwards this time with the feet outside of the hands? Let's try. Inhale. Hop forwards, land lightly. You can also walk your way forwards. Separate the legs a little bit more and work to bring the body between the legs. Bring as much of the body under your legs as possible. See if then your knees can go up and around your shoulders. Beautiful. Take your option to just stay here, or perhaps you incorporate a bind. You were trying to clasp the hands together behind the legs. And once you are in that expression, work to straighten your legs out as best as you can. Coming to Tadasana, variation B. Using this then to prepare ourselves for our next challenge. Our next challenge is the pose we were exploring in our intermediate level class from the previous week, which is then Sama Konasana, transverse split. So let's prepare this by releasing our bind, placing the hands on the mat, coming up to a halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, you step the feet outside of the mat with the option of placing them on towels for easier sliding. And slowly, slowly slide your way down, just like frog pose. Keeping the legs parallel with each other, keeping the hips in line with the feet. Slowly coming down to the full expression. Beautiful. Very nice. And once you are on the mat, you can slowly send your hip forwards to deepen. Again, you have the option to point the toes forwards on the mat, but that has a risk of unnecessary lateral flexion at the knee joint. So how we prefer to practice here in our school is to point the toes upwards instead. Lengthen the lower back. Keep the thighs engaged. Incorporate a strong outer hip engagement, but not forgetting that pelvic floor as well. Breathe. Stay present in what it feels like to be in such an intense hip abduction. There might be emotions as well as physical sensations, positive or negative. Try to develop equanimity. Let's stay for one more breath. And that'll do. Release by slowly, 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 slowly lifting your knees off, bringing the legs closer together, gently taking your time to close. Beautiful. Rounding the back to gently lower down to the mat. Bring your knees with you into the chest in a tuck. Continue to feel the effects of your practice. Good. Then when you're ready, we will find the shoelace pose from this position, crossing the right leg over the left leg, keeping the knees together, separate the feet, reach with your hands, try to grab the ankles of the feet, and like the handlebars of a bicycle, keep the shins separate as best as possible. Then lower the chest down, your tailbone. Try to avoid lifting from the mat, pulling down on the feet to either side of the body, releasing any tension in the outer hips. Good. So from here, let's do a reclining twist. You can wrap the legs together like an eagle pose and bring both knees down to the left side of the mat. As you do so, let's spread your right arm out and keep the grounding of the right shoulder as you turn your head to the right. Beautiful. And let's release, untwist. Cross the legs the opposite way. Knees together, feet apart. Catch the ankles of the feet and like the handlebars of a bicycle. Separating the feet as you guide the knees towards the chest. Keep your tailbone to the mat. Reclining shoelace. That'll do. Wrapping the legs together like ropes, like an eagle pose, sending your wrapped legs down to the right side of the mat. As you move the legs down to the right, sometimes it feels nice if you would shift your hips back to the left slightly. In so doing, you maintain the beautiful and healthy lengthening of both sides of your twist. And then spreading that left arm up with the head rolling to the left, staying and easing the breath. Good. And that'll do. Unwrap the legs slowly. And then coming to our final position on the mat. Arms and legs spread comfortably wide, with the toes pointing outwards, heels inwards, palms facing upwards, and gently closing the eyes, arriving then in Shavasana or corpse pose. So thank you very much for joining this sequence with us. Keep practicing with joy in the body and peace in the heart. Namaste, and see you soon.